Pastor Brian from Summit Church here. The Elder Board made an $82,000 decision at our last meeting. I want to tell you about that decision and similar decisions that will need to be made in the next several years, along with how we can pay for them. Those things are the topic for this week's edition of Wednesday's Words with Pastor Brian. At our congregational meeting last November, I shared with you that our roof would need to be replaced this year. It's 26 years old and has 25-year shingles on it. I gave an update at our meeting in November. The elders made a decision at our last meeting about which roofing company to go with and what kind of shingles to use. The total cost for the project is around $82,000. Now, the good news is the roofing contractor was able to show that our roof has had wind and hail damage, so our insurance company is picking up $58,000 of that cost. They will reimburse us $6,000 more after the work is completed because the new roof will have an enhanced ice and water barrier around the edges. Weather permitting, the work on the roof will begin this Monday, March 6th. We've been told that it shouldn't impact our weekly ministries in any way, but don't be surprised if you show up next week and there's a whole bunch of activity going on here and maybe even some mess you have to step around on your way in. $82,000 is a huge amount of money. We print the financial status of the church in the bulletin each week, but expenses like this don't show up in that report, or these bar graphs that you see. So I want to take this opportunity to make sure everyone at Summit Church understands how finances work here when it comes to capital improvements to our facility. Every November, we vote on the budget for the next calendar year. This is the operating budget for the church, and it pays for things like curriculum and utilities and all the things that go on here. 10% of giving to the operating budget goes toward missions. The numbers and graphs that you see each week in the bulletin, they're for this operating budget. Capital improvements to our building, like getting a new roof, are paid for out of a different account called the building fund. Heading into this year, the balance in our building fund was about $33,000. When you add the amount that we got from the insurance company, we have enough to pay for the new roof without having to go to the congregation and ask for more. This is obviously good news. We need a roof, and we can afford it. That said, replacing the roof will draw down the balance in the building fund down to about $15,000. That's pretty low for a facility our size. It doesn't leave us much margin if something major like the HVAC system went out. Additionally, we have some other projects on the horizon. And let me tell you why that is. In 1997, we added the part of our building that has the lobby and covered drive-through upstairs and the youth rooms downstairs. At that time, we did a capital fund drive to pay for that addition. The work included things like the roof and the parking lot and the carpeting. All those items were wrapped up into one big project that was done 26 years ago. The hard part is they're all now coming due at the same time. And let me list some of those for you. The asphalt in our front parking lot is 26 years old. 4 years ago, while Gary Cooper was our interim pastor, we resealed the front parking lot. And that was intended to buy us some time, about 5 more years out of that asphalt. Then 3 years ago, during my first year as lead pastor, we remodeled the lobby area with the living room and the fireplace and that space we enjoy so much each week. Last year, then, we repaved the back parking lot. This year, we're getting a new roof. So we've had to give attention to this building for each of the last 4 years. And looking ahead, we will need to replace the carpet in the sanctuary probably next year. It's now over 25 years old and is showing its age. The year after that, we should look at replacing the carpet in our basement. It's over 20 years old. And the year after that, it'll be 7 years then since the front parking lot was sealed, and we'll probably need to repave the whole thing. And my point is that while we're doing really well financially and we can pay for our new roof, we also have a number of projects in this building that will need attention in the next several years. Each of them is in the tens of thousands of dollars. Repaving the front parking lot will probably cost over 6 figures. Part of the job of pastor and the elder board is to provide leadership as we move forward. This means we need to be aware of all this, keep you informed, and manage things as we look to the future. Right now, we don't have plans to launch any sort of capital fund drive to pay for these future projects. We may go there, I don't know. That'd be up to the full elder board. In the meantime, I want all of you to know about our building fund and how it works. You can give to the building fund by indicating on the memo of your check or using the drop down menu for those who give online. I've been told that there's some individuals at Summit who give regularly to the building fund. I got an email just this week saying that Summit Church was named in someone's will. Giving from your estate, or so-called legacy giving, is something we don't hear about regularly, but it's another way you can give large lump sums toward things like the building fund. You know, we don't talk much about the mechanics of money very much here at Summit Church. There's 52 Sundays, and we only pass the offering plate on 12 of them. We strive to be transparent by including an update each week in the bulletin, but outside of that, we go for weeks and weeks oftentimes without any mention of money. Personally, I like this. I like that we aren't a church where appeals for donations are a regular thing. But the downside is you may not know about things like the building fund, and I hope this has been helpful. I want to thank you for your generosity. Your gifts help us take care of this building and have put us in a position where we can afford to put a new roof on this year. And I have a firm faith that God will continue to provide for the needs of this church as we move forward.